All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is, hey, guess what it is? It's open house day. All right, boy, did we have a great open house today. Today's July 7th, 2025. Thank you for everybody that subscribes to my services. Appreciate that. I don't take that for granted. I try very hard every day to provide actionable, profitable content for you to enjoy and to benefit from, all right, every single day. And thank you, everybody out there in Cyberland, Digital Land, Podcast Land. Thank you for following my content. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for leaving the kind comments. Thank you, Bob Jordan. Thank you, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted, all of you that leave the nice, kind comments and share my material around so that others can benefit from it as well. All right, so I want to say, hey, congrats to all the attendees at the open house today. All right, today's July 7th. They traded the same old, guess what? The boring 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, and they made 1% to 2% of their trading account. So if you had a $10,000 account, then you probably made $100 to $200, okay? Because that would have been 1 to 2% of your trading account. If you had a $50,000 account, then you made probably $500 to $1,000, all right? Because that would have been 1 to 2%, all right? If you have $500. Yep, $500. So if you have a $27,000 account, which we started today, I would have needed to make $270, okay? So that's why I started at a $5K account and a $27K account, both made over 1%. All right, that was the goal, make 1%. Because if you make 1% per day, all right, for 70 days straight without losing, all right, in 70 days you can double your money. All right, so there you go. All we want to do is 1%. Okay, we'd like to do more. All right, if circumstances allow it, yes. But we want to start off these first trades on these accounts on the right foot. So we start off with a little conservative, and we want to make the 1%. And we were able to complete that today. So congrats, traders, on those SPY 615 strike 4 days till expiration puts. Okay, so traders were basically, get this, they were done at 12:30 today. Can you imagine going to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and you're done at 12:30? How about that for a work day? All right, but that's what happens when you educate yourself, okay? When you educate yourself and you get inside a room that promotes education, that promotes helping you learn, that promotes getting you on the right track and keeping you on the right track, that can happen right here in the BYOB Trading Room. All right, imagine that. 12:30, you're done for the day, and you can go to the beach, you can go swimming, go out on the boat, go fishing, go to the gym. All right, go outside, do some gardening, whatever strikes your fancy. Go for a walk, anything. All right, but imagine that, or hit the bar. All right, so anyways, 12:30, pretty much traders were done for the day after hitting 1%, 2% of their accounts. So congrats to all the traders out there in the room. And there were a lot of them that talked about the making more than 1%. So that was fantastic. All right, let me see what we got here. Canceled. Let me cancel that. Get my chart back up here. All right. Oh, look at this. Here's the rip into the end of the day. Wouldn't you know it? All right, so there it is. Okay, so I was kind of counting on that. But anyways, all right, you can see what I traded today, okay? I already spelled it out earlier. It's the 4 days till expiration. All right, 615 strike puts 4 days till expiration, okay? It's the same thing I spelled out early this morning, okay? If you were here with me early in the morning, I told everybody in the room, okay, all the newbies, all the visitors, okay, this is what I like. I like 4 days till expiration, or 11 days till expiration. Friday options, I like Friday because you got more open interest. All right, I like them on the increments of 5. All right, so an increment of 5 would be 615, 620, 610. That's increments of 5, okay, or multiple of 5. All right, and I like them $5 to $15 out of the money. Okay, again, if you have an in the money call, you're going to get much better performance with an in the money call, but it's going to cost you more. Okay, now when you're starting out with a new account, I like to sacrifice a little bit of performance, all right, to have a little less risk on the table. All right, that's just my preference. That's how I like to trade. Okay, so I like $5 to $15 out of the money. Okay, now if you want the very best performing option, it's usually 9 times out of 10, it's going to be that 0 days till expiration in the money option. That's going to probably give you that penny for penny performance. Okay, so now what do I like? I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, especially when they're breaking away and peeling away from VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP when they're breaking away and peeling away from VWAP, okay? We had a green erases red, which never triggered, okay? Price overs, 626.10. That would have been a green erases red trigger. We have a SPY pivot, 623.80. Above and I'm a bull, below and I'm a bear. You can see price spike the pivot right here in the opening range, okay? 623.80. All right, and it never got back up on top of it. Okay, so above the pivot, I'm a bull. Below the pivot, I'm a bear. And you can see right here, we have the red erases green entry underneath 622.40 right there. So you were well prepared, long before the market opened. It's if you read the SPY game plan. Okay, so below 622.40, that's a bearish entry. So we took some puts right here below 622.40, and we wrote them down into this big candle right here and took profit at the bottom of that, and we were able to complete our 1 to 2% right there. Okay, again, we traded the 10-minute. Here's the 10-minute chart, 10-minute downtrend. Okay, this is the opening range right here. This is the first 15 minutes of trading. Okay, that's the opening range. Price breaks below. All right, so we're getting ready for puts. Price breaks below 622.40. You can see right there, 10-minute downtrend. That's the 3 on the 10-minute chart. That's the 3 EMA. All right, below the 8 EMA. Okay, and you got price action candles, the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA below the 17 EMA. That's those red dots. And all of that is below VWAP, which is that brown line, volume weighted average price right there. Okay, so we've got a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP right there. So traders are asking me, what is the rubber band candle? Okay, that's a great question. All right, so I'll go back to this in just a second, but let's go pick up and see that rubber band candle. We'll take a close-up look at it so you can see. All right, so I'm going to bring it back here. How do I define the rubber band candle? Well, first I have to have a point of interest. And most of the time, my point of interest is either like the pivot or VWAP. All right, VWAP's normally my point of interest, okay? Now, there'll be a big spike candle, the biggest spike candle you can see, okay, that crosses through VWAP. That will be my spike candle. Now, get this, okay? The rubber band candle, okay, is the free floating candle that surpasses the low of the spike candle, okay, or the high of the spike candle, depending upon which side price is gathering on. Okay, so you can see here's the free floating candle right here. Notice it's not attached to VWAP right there. Okay, so now if price closes below that tail right there, below that tail, okay, then I want to buy puts for a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. So that's the rubber band candle right there, okay? That's the 10-minute open market rubber band candle. Okay, we have another rubber band candle right here. Okay, this is the 10-minute. Again, it comes off the 10-minute chart because the 5-minute chart will have a different candle. Okay, 10-minute chart. Okay, here's the spike candle right there through VWAP. That's the point of interest. Here's the free floating one that surpasses the low of the spike candle. So this is the pre-market 10-minute rubber band candle, bearish rubber band candle right there. Okay, bearish because we're below VWAP. All right, so you guys get that? That's the 10-minute right there. So if price closes below that, now notice this price candle, it went below it, but it didn't close below it. This one also went below it, but it didn't close below it. This one also went below it, but it didn't close below this one. It didn't close, and hence price was recalled back to VWAP, back up here to the top part of the range. This is the opening range right there, and then from there they gave up the ghost right there, and you can see price comes down in this 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. Okay, so this is what we wrote earlier today. Okay, SPY observed 10-minute downtrend under VWAP with a breach of the rubber band candle. Notice the price action candles, okay, and the 3-8 trap, all right, right here, that's the space between the 3 and the 8, all right, are peeling away from VWAP. Here they're attached, now they're no longer attached, and they're running away from where VWAP is, okay? That's our trade right there. We do this day after day, either a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP or a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. That's our trade. That's our strategy. That's what we look for day after day. Now, if price crisscrosses back and forth over VWAP 2 or 3 times before noon, you could be setting yourself up for a chop day. All right? Could be setting yourself for a chop day. All right? And we did have a little bit of crisscrossing, but then we finally broke a rubber band candle here, and we closed the candle underneath it, and there we go. We're in this for a 10-minute downtrend. Okay? Because it was crisscrossing back and forth. A little bit of chop there early this morning. Okay? So, again, what did we trade right here? This would be the 615 strike. Let's get that out there. All right? Those 615 puts. All right? I'm going to pan over so you can see. Okay? So now the blue dots represent the buys. Okay? And the red dots represent the sells. Okay? So we're going to pan over a little more. Don't know why you're stuck there. Hold on. Well, for some reason we got stuck. Huh. Non-cooperative today. All right. Anyways, okay. So you can see these are puts. All right. So when the market's up, I'm loading puts. When the market dips, I take profit. So you can see I'm loading, take profit. Loading, take profit. Loading. See that? See the dip? Take profit. Reload, take profit. All right. You can see that's how it works. That's how we did it today. So loading and then take profit. You can see right there on the crosshairs, all right, all the way up there at 639 taking profit, and you're buying them down here at 161. All right, so nice little 40% gain on those contracts right there. So I made right there, these are all the buys and sells. I made 362 on those. Traded some 0 DTE 621 strike calls to the upside for a trip back to VWAP, but they didn't get it done until the last minute. You can see here's the trip back to VWAP all the way back up to 21 cents, and I was loaded up for those, but they didn't want to deliver till the end of the day, so I only made $4 on those. Okay, so that's it. So now let's talk about price action. All right, so 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. All right, so we're looking for a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend into the close tomorrow. I don't think we'll get it. I actually think we're going to gap down tomorrow. All right, I'm looking for price to begin a consolidation pattern between 623.50 and 613, which is the prior all-time high. So that's what I'm looking for price to start a consolidation pattern between 623.50 and 613. We'll see what happens, all right? But that's what I'm looking for to happen, all right? So there's 10-minute, got a 10-minute uptrend, okay, not over VWAP, but a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Notice the 3 and the candles on top of the 8. That's a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour, all right, you got a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close right there. Let's put it on here and try it one more time. Sometimes it's a little bit different. Okay, 2-hour downtrend. Notice the 3 EMA on the 2-hour chart is underneath the 8. Notice the price candle underneath the 3. Okay, so 2-hour downtrend coming into the close today on SPY. On the daily candle, okay, lower high, lower low. All right, closing inside a bullish trap because the 3 is on top of the 8. That makes it bullish. All right, up over the rising 17. That's the green dots right there. So price action, and it's still in an uptrend. All right, just we didn't make new highs today. We did on the 3rd. Okay, that would have been Thursday, but no new highs today. So having a little pullback now. Bear in mind, look, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days up. Have a little cool off. All right, is not a bad thing. Okay, a little cool off here. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's daily uptrend. So what do I like? You know what I like? I like a 10-minute uptrend that's over VWAP. That's inside a 2-hour uptrend. That's inside of a daily uptrend. That's inside of a weekly uptrend. That's inside of a monthly uptrend. That's over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, and that's what we had all through these 9 days, right here. That's how I was able to make my account grow. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, that's inside the 2-hour uptrend. Inside the daily uptrend. Notice the 2-hour uptrend was inside a rising daily uptrend. Inside of a weekly, inside of a monthly, all over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's a recipe for success. Okay, that's like having all the wind in your sails. All right, that works out nicely. All right, so that's what I like. All right, right now we're having a pullback. This is normal. Okay, this does not mean the market is broken. Okay, this is normal to have a pullback up here. Okay, there's still a lot of good news to come out there. Okay, we got earnings going to be kicking off pretty soon. All right, let me just say AI is still hot. All right, I think this is going to be an AI bubble. All right, be prepared for that. Notice we're up at 620. 620 was a target for everybody that was listening to me all through moving through the consolidation. All right, so you knew 620 was a target. I even feel like we can get up to 650. I think if we get some free trade deals, some peace, and a lot of good stuff come out, I think we could get up to 650 is a possibility. So there's a daily chart. Daily's in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, you can see we're up at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, we're up over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Everything looking good for SPY. Okay, you're up over the 17 EMA. That's bullish. All right, still in an uptrend. You're making higher lows. See, here's a low. You're making higher lows, and you're making higher highs. See, here's a high. We're making a higher high. Okay, that's uptrend, still bullish. Top of quadrant 4. Let's take a look at QQQ. Thank you, Judy. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. I hope you do get a trial. Thank you. Look forward to having you trading with us. Very kind. Thank you. All right. QQQ. Same thing as SPY. All right. Well, higher low, higher, a little lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. All right. Okay. Inside the bullish trap. That's bullish over the rising 17. See the green dots? Okay, that's bullish. Up here at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Up over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP, also bullish. QQQ, bullish. Okay, again, we like those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. Okay, those are our favorites. Okay, that's a strategy we like to trade. There's QQQ. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. All right, same candle. Lower high, lower low, closing, oh my gosh, over a bullish trap, that's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Up here at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. In an uptrend, yeah, we got higher lows, okay? Here's a low, we got higher lows. There's a high, there's some higher highs. So it's uptrend, bullish, and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM put in a new rally high on Thursday. Today we got lower high, lower low, closing in a bullish trap. That's still bullish over the rising 17. That's bullish. We're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Okay, closing up here in the upper third. That's still bullish in the upper third up there. Okay, so IWM still bullish in the upper third and in an uptrend. Got a low, making a higher low. Got a high, making higher highs. That's an uptrend. As long as we're moving up, that's bullish. Okay, Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, again, everybody got the same candle. Lower high, lower low. Some closed over the trap, some closed in the trap. So you can see right here, closing inside a bullish trap. Over the rising 17, that's bullish. Look at them all up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Over this all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, Thursday was a rally high for Diamond Dow. Up here, new rally high on Thursday. Okay, little rest going on today. Price action in an uptrend and bullish up here in quadrant 4. Anytime you're up in the upper third of the quad lines, that's bullish. In the lower third, that's bearish. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at T21.22. You can see we came out of the overbought zone right up here on Thursday, all right? Came crashing through, bounced in the buyer's chop zone, made an appearance inside the buy zone, and spent the rest of the day inside the buyer's chop zone right through here, okay? So we could find ourselves back into the buy zone maybe later tomorrow sometime. We'll see what happens, okay? Notice they made, here's some lows, here, and here. We made, looks like a higher low here. Okay, so that's good news. All right, we could find ourselves back in the buy zone again tomorrow. T21.23. Okay, so look at price action. Green, red. Look at them hold the higher ground. Now, this was Thursday. Bullish gap up. Notice, even as bearish as it was today, on T21.23, they did not fill the gap. Okay? So even though we had some bears out there today, no gap fill. All right? What does that tell me? Bulls are still in control. Okay? So green almost from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Looks like they had a two martini lunch here. Looks like they interrupted it with a beer chaser and then 2 more tequila shots at the end of the day here. Okay, so there's T21.23. Look at them move up, hold that higher ground. Hey traders, if you don't know that, that's bullish. Keeping that bullish gap open like that, that's bullish. Holding this higher ground up here, that's like, I don't know how many of you guys exercise, but that's like holding a plank right there for 6.5 hours. Okay, that's a tremendous amount energy to do that, to hold that plank for 6.5 hours up there. So that's move up and hold that higher ground for all that time. Nice work on T2123. Yeah, I know we got some red candles in there, but that's okay. Look at price up over that 200 period moving average. That's bullish. All right. Look at the distance. Okay. Look at the distance grow between the price and the hooking 200 SMA. Nice work, T2123. Okay, 3-bar chart again. Look at the distance between the 17 and the price action. Looking good up over this 200 SMA. Let me just say, if they take out that high right there, okay, they will negate the daily downtrend. Now, 15-minute chart is in an uptrend, okay, because we're making higher lows and we're making higher highs. Okay, 3-bar chart is in an uptrend because here's a low, we're making higher lows. There's a high, we're making higher highs. 3-bar chart's in an uptrend. The daily is not. The daily has to take out that high, and then they can have a daily uptrend. Right now, on 3-bar chart, you're up over the 200 SMA. That's awesome. You're up over prior all-time high there and prior all-time high there. That's not an all-time high, but if they happen to get up on top of that and close up there, that will negate the daily downtrend in the T2123. That would be big, all right, to see that happen. All right, so there's T2123. If you look at this on the daily chart, okay, you can see they were dealing with this 200 SMA right there, and there's the first high that needs to be taken out on the daily chart. We'll go back to the 3-bar chart. Okay, price action, really getting it done, T2123. FNGU, all right, red from the beginning of the day almost to the end of the day, looking like a couple of tequila shots in between. All right, still up over this 200 SMA, all right, still holding the bullish gap open, all right, still, that's bullish, all right, just caught underneath VWAP here for a little profit taking. Okay, price action up over the 200, that is bullish, holding the bullish gap open, that's bullish. Consolidation over prior consolidation, that's bullish. FNGU on the 15-minute chart, still bullish, just taking a rest day today. You can see they took a rest day before, and what did they do? Produced a higher high. So maybe we get a higher high off of this rest. We'll see. All right, don't want to get ahead of myself, but we'll see what happens. There's FNGU, 15-minute chart. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. First sector we'll look at is XLE. That's energy. Energy, again, failing to hold the higher ground. See, they go up and they give it up. They go up and they give it up. But what they are doing right is they're making higher lows. Here's a low. Excuse me. There's a higher low. There's a high, and they're making higher highs. Notice the higher highs. So they're in an uptrend. They're just struggling to hold the higher ground. You can see them. They move down and they give it up. That's neutral. Same thing. You move up and you give it up. That's neutral. Okay. So just here at the midpoint, notice they're not in the upper third, not in the lower third. So that just puts them right here in the middle in neutral territory. Let's take a look at USO. That's crude oil right here. Crude oil making an appearance in the upper third. Again, nice work there. All right, so that's bullish up there in the upper third. All right, price action went up, gave it up. I was going to say that's neutral, but not after today's candle. All right, notice they're up here holding, moving back up again. So higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish cross, that's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Over this, this is a 3-year high anchored VWAP right here. That's a post-COVID high right there. So that's bullish in the upper third, making higher lows. All right, higher low, making higher highs. Here's a high, higher high up there. So that's bullish in an uptrend. All right, USO having a great day today, back in the bullish upper third, like that. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG, not so much. UNG's in a downtrend, okay? Because here's 3 lows, and guess what? They made a lower low. All right, so price action, you can see UNG, lower high, lower low. This would be the previous day's candle. Okay, closing under a bearish trap. That's always bearish. Under the 17, the falling 17 at that. That's bearish. Down here in quadrant 1, that's bearish. Underneath this really low bar, 18-month high anchored VWAP right here. Okay, so price action in a bear flag. That's a move down and then over to the right, showing not an inverted, but a head and shoulders here. Okay, this would be the right shoulder. These 2 peaks here. This would be the left shoulder. These 2 peaks here. Okay, this triple crown up here. Okay, that's the head up there. Okay, so showing a head and shoulders pattern, looking ready to attack the all-time lows once again on UNG in a downtrend. Look at the lower highs and the lower lows. All right, down here in quadrant 1, that's bearish. Okay, let's take a look at GLD. GLD, look at this, moving up, holding quadrant 4. That's bullish. Okay, but we're in a downtrend because here's a low and we made a lower low. If they take out that high, they will negate the downtrend. Hey, but it's just a label, okay? As long as price is holding up here in the 300 area, all right, that's bullish, all right? If they break below this low, or excuse me, this low right here, good chance we're coming all the way down to catch that uptrend and maybe look for a quick bounce back up into quadrant 4. So there's GLD in a downtrend, but not moving down. Look at all these green candles. Okay, not moving down. Nice candle today, gap down, but moved back up. All right, closing inside a bullish trap, but under the 17 EMA and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a pink line right there. Again, price moving up, holding that higher ground. That's quadrant 4. That's bullish. Let's take a look at silver. Okay, silver having a nice day today. Gap down, trades up. Higher, lower low, lower high, but closing over a bullish trap. That's bullish. Over this rising 17, bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend. Higher lows and higher highs. Silver's bullish. Gold is bullish. Gold's in a downtrend, technically, but not moving down. Silver's in an uptrend and holding the higher ground. Okay, so both are bullish. Let's take a look at SMH. All right, SMH up in quadrant 4 made a new all-time high on Thursday. Okay, that's bullish up there. Okay, let's take a look at XLK. XLK made a new all-time high on Thursday. Again, taking a day off. That's bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4. XLF. Okay, made a new all-time high on Thursday. All right, so taking a day off today. All right, closing up in bullish trap. That's bullish over the 17, always bullish. Over this all-time high anchored VWAP, also bullish. Prior all-time high at that. Okay, so top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. That's XLF. IYT. IYT hanging out inside quadrant 4, that's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's a pink line. Look at price move up. Kind of hold the higher ground. All right, not very high, but right here. And then break out to the upside, that's bullish. Okay, they're in an uptrend. I got to tell you, I think the IYT made a new rally high today. And they did. Okay, there's the IYT transports. Just made a new rally high today. Nice work on those. Closing over the bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still in an uptrend, making higher lows. Okay, obviously, here's a high, and they're making a higher high. That's bullish and in an uptrend up there. Okay, that's it for me for today. All right, Again, if you want a trial to the BYOB Trading Room, they're only $7. Ed has dropped in the inside the chat the link to get a $7 trial. Please take advantage of it. All right. You know what? I urge you all how to set the daily pivot. I'm gonna go over that real quick. I'm gonna urge you all to take a trial in each of our trading services. Okay. Okay. I might not be your cup of tea. Maybe day trading is not your thing. Okay. Just want to let you know that I do offer free 15-minute coaching to help you guys that are struggling to be day traders so that you can succeed, okay? Free 15-minute coaching, okay? I'm here for you whenever you need me, all right? Now, the other two services, hit and run candlesticks, I think you should always try them out. Maybe you can do both. Maybe you can day trade and swing trade at the same time. And then we got right way options, okay? At $7 a pop, okay? For the next 90 days, all right? As long as you haven't taken these, I think in the past, 60, 90 days, okay? I think you can take another trial. I don't know how many you're allowed per year, all right? But anyways, okay? You should try each service out. See which one fits you. All right? I think that would benefit you. You know, maybe you don't find a home with me. And that'll make me sad, but I'll be all right, okay? I'm going to be okay. All right? Maybe you find a home with Rick. Maybe you find a home with Doug. Either one, all right? I think we can help you here, okay? We want to see you succeed, okay? We don't take your subscriptions for granted. All right. So think about it. All right. You could hang out with us and be a part of the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. We hope to see you here. Thank you for everybody visiting and hanging out with me today. So happy to see you guys made profits. Appreciate everything. I will see everybody tomorrow. All right. Hope to see a bunch of new trials. Hope to see a bunch of new trials tomorrow morning, all right? I'll be excited, all right? And I'll be excited to do another day of trading where we make another 1% or 2%. Who knows? Maybe we make 10%, all right? It could happen, all right? We'll see what happens, all right? So tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Remember, I start all my training and all my prep work is done before market, because when the market opens up, we're day traders. We're going to be trading. All right? So be there at 8 o'clock. All right, traders, that's it for me. Thank you for spending the day with me. Have a great evening and a great week. Great week. Daily pivot. Okay. This is what I do, Roger, is SPY. All right, 10-minute chart. Okay. I look at a little bit of pre-market, post-market in addition. All right. And I look at where price went back and forth the previous day. Okay. So for me to set my pivot for this morning, I look at where price has gone back and forth the previous day. Okay, so I can see price went up and then turned around and stopped. So between this wick and this tail, all right, is where I see price moving up back and forth. All right, and I notice the consolidation under and the consolidation over right here. So that's how I set my pivot. So right up there, right about it, 623.80, right there is where I wanted to set my pivot this morning, okay? Because I got this consolidation under and all this consolidation over right there. So that's how I came up with my pivot. I look at a place where price moves up and sometimes bounces away from, or price moves down and bounces away from, or price keeps coming back to that area. So you notice like right through here, 623.80. You can see right through there, 65. Let's go up to 80 right there. Okay. So you can see price, see that wick goes up and this tail comes down. You can see price consolidate underneath and then price consolidate on top. Okay, you can see we got up underneath it. So 623.80 became my pivot for today. All right, 623. You can see price right there where price got up on top and below, right there, 623.80. All right, that's 94. But anyways, that's how I come up with it. All right, so like on this day, this would be the second. Okay, I look at where price moves up and then price climbs on top. So that would be like right about there. You see that high from the previous day? You got these wicks where price is getting shot down. Now you got these candles sitting on top, consolidating over prior consolidation. So this would have been my pivot for the previous day, 618.91. See where price comes up? This is the way the market tells me this is an important number, all right, because they keep going up to it or coming back to it, all right? This was a tough day because it was only 4 hours or 3.5 hours, okay? This one was much easier. You can see where the market keeps going up to and coming back to the same area, telling me that's an important number, all right, right there, all right, Roger? Awesome, all right, awesome. All right, everybody, tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Ed's going to reset the room here pretty soon. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Let's do it again. All right, thank you so much.